Yahoo!
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
I am so happy to be back.
Peaceful Dickens in the house.
And look, I got my UFO ready to go.
Ooh, I'll say. So we love chit-chatting about. Now, listen, I'm fixing to go up to Shasta with Kim and Mel, and I'm going to do a CE5. I think Friday. Every time I listen, I didn't speak the language, Dr. Grill. You know how he speaks this different language. I thought, I'll never learn that. So I just asked for them. And I asked the group, we had about 60 people, to start asking and take their phones and just start taking random pictures. UFOs everywhere.
Everywhere.
It was fantastic. We even got a picture by a tree. There was no lights there. And all of a sudden, there's this orange color, and then you can see an outline of what I call an ET, and then it disappeared.
It's incredible. And sometimes I wonder, are these just interdimensional beings that we're calling in with our energy? Which would be alien to us. Hello, everybody. I have so much to say.
Oh, good. I'm so excited.
So much to say. First, I want to tell everybody I updated my website. I had to add a bunch of new dates because you guys were so awesome last month. Filled my calendar to the brim. I'm running ragged doing readings constantly, so thank you. And I have a coupon code CAPS Linda G for $25 off. Anybody who books any 15, 30, or 45-minute reading. So code Linda G, I put it in the chat somewhere. And I have so much to say. So much to say.
Oh, I can't wait. Can I ask Lisa and our people, Lisa, Nass, Dan, are here to stop the cray-cray.
So awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And Lisa, if you could put the code in there too, that would be awesome. Linda G. Easy to remember. No space.
By the way, can I get a discount too? No, I'm just kidding.
Of course. I'll give you a free reading anytime you want one. And Linda G's all caps, no spaces. Lisa, thank you. Can I ask a political question first?
Sure.
What is your assessment of the voting tallies in those New York counties that there have been rumblings about?
This will be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. He might already be gone when it's proven, but he cheated. Him and Elon. It was fixed. Listen, we can see the truth. Sorry, you guys, I got a bit of a haze. Don't know what that's about unless it's the angels encircling around me. But he had to pay people to come to his rally. And here, Kamala Harris was booked. They were outside of the event.
Yeah.
So it will be proven. I don't know if he's in office or he starts escaping from office. I don't know. But someone said something to Dan. I'm going to tell you, and I'll talk about this later because you've got things you want to talk about. But someone is planning on taking him out. I can see it.
I'm actually surprised that hasn't already happened.
Yeah, somebody doesn't want him there. Yeah.
But I also feel like they're letting him be there for a reason. Like, why is this being allowed? There's got to be a reason this is being allowed, because our CIA is pretty nasty. And if they didn't want somebody to be there, there would be
get rid of.
Yeah. So that I go back and forth, like, why is this being allowed? There's got to be a bigger reason, either politically or spiritually.
And the other thing, that LAPD, there's videos, you can see it. They are breaking their own windshields.
Ooh.
In uniform with batons, breaking the windshield so they can blame and they're arresting people, CNN, news media, they're arresting like crazy. And there was this one LAPD officer that was shooting reporters in the groin.
I saw that lady reporter, the guy turned, you could see
Oh, yeah,
it.
that was the day before, recently.
Oh, my.
They're all going to pay, by the way. It's all on camera.
Don't these people know there's cameras everywhere? Everybody's videotaping constantly.
Right.
So, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can just talk about that for 12 hours, but we have to talk about UFOs.
Yeah. And are they involved in this at all? Do they see what's going on?
Ooh, well, of course, I think they see everything. I think they see everything. And one thing I like to tell when I'm teaching about, because my master's degree is astronomy, for those of you who are just joining and aren't familiar with me.
Give a little history about yourself.
So I have been a science educator and communicator for 20 years. I have a master's degree in astronomy and a bachelor's degree in biology. And my specialty is astrobiology, or looking for aliens. That is literally what I was trained to do scientifically. And my specialty is Mars, and specifically looking for life on Mars. That's what I was trained to do. And I grew up, my mom was woo-woo. She read UFO books all the time. She died in 1986. So I don't know what would have come of her studies had she survived. But I followed a science track, and then I became a medium, not planning on that. It just happened to me one day. I think I talked about that in the last live. And so now I am a full-time medium, and I work in science communication and education as well. So I always taught my students, because when I was teaching astronomy in university and in high school, the number one question I got was about aliens and UFOs, right?
Right.
All the time. Of course. And that's interesting for students, that gets them excited.
Right.
And so I would always say, listen, if aliens wanted to come here and take us over,
they would have already.
They would have already, for sure. And we wouldn't even know they were here, because they drop a virus in a couple of places. It would spread like wildfire. We would never even know they were here. They wouldn't.
And they have that ability.
Absolutely. If they can fly across the galaxy or through dimensions, they can do, I mean, biology's not that hard. You know, it's not that hard to make somebody really sick with a little bit of stuff. So there would never be any battles like you see in the movie Independence Day. If they wanted to get rid of us, we'd be gone easily. So that's my assessment of, are they going to attack us and take us over? We would have no control over that. We're sitting ducks if they wanted to.
Well, is that true? The story about the man that went in that cave and came upon an alien in the cave? He said he had this weird look. He had this suit, a weird suit on, and he said, you know, what are you doing or something? And he said, he asked about the world, this guy, the civilian did. And he said he was sad. And he said, why? He said, because you're destroying the earth.
I've heard several stories like that with people encountering aliens and a lot of stuff in caves. Like, I've heard lots of stories about that. I try to ride the fence on scientific fact and what can I prove, because I think there's a lot of misinformation.
Exactly.
A lot of misinformation. We have to be very careful now.
Especially with this AI around now.
Absolutely. I like to look back at the older stories before the internet, the stories that were printed in newspapers and things like that, because there was no internet interference. There was no AI then. But I think that it is in my big assessment is this. Are aliens real? 100%. There's absolutely no way in the universe that there are not other sentient beings. Are all of those UFOs we're seeing alien craft? Probably not, because we're not that interesting to send all of those resources here all the time.
Right.
I think most of those are probably government. A lot of that stuff is probably government. That's my assessment. Now, have UFOs from other planets been here? I think that's possible for sure. There's no scientific reason why that's not possible. I have seen UFOs. several times. So, and I have no explanation for what they are because I'm not an engineer, right? So I don't know what these things were. They didn't make sense to me. I've had an alien encounter. Can I prove it? No. I'm going to
talk about that before.
I'm going to tell you. I got my list of good stuff. So aliens, 100% real. How many have been here? I don't know, but I don't think all the UFOs are aliens. But can they come here? For sure. Definitely. Think about how our technology, in 1892, we couldn't fly planes, right? 1903, the first plane flew. By the 40s, in World War II, there were jets. So in 40 years, we went from, Orville and Wilbur Wright to jets in World War II. That's a really fast turnaround. Horse and buggy to jets in 40 years. I mean, that's quick. And then we went to the moon 20 years after that. So in the 60s, I mean, think about the year before I was born, we were on the moon. And then imagine what the government has done behind the scenes. I'm sure Linda has some insight into that. What have they done?
Yeah.
First, and I wonder, because I've had UFO experiences and some paranormal stuff happen, am I a medium because of that? Did those encounters turn that on for me? I think about these things.
Right.
Did
you notice it after your encounter?
Oh, yes. I didn't become a medium until 6 years ago. Oh, and my encounters were before that. Yes. I could make piles of money and live in a mansion within a year if I did mediumship readings with aliens, right? People love that kind of stuff. I mean, they
do mediumship readings, aliens do?
Yes, there are mediums who talk to aliens. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
It is a thing. Now, I don't do that. And the reason I don't do that is because I can't prove it.
I know. That's why I have a hard time with past lives.
Right.
You can kind of make up anything, but how do you know for sure?
Exactly. 100%. I agree with that. And that's what I'm saying. I can make tons of money because there are mediums who do that. They channel aliens, and that's great for them. And I'm sure, Julie says Bashar. But Bashar, that's probably more like guides and wisdom, because what he says is pretty cool. Most of what I've heard.
Is that the gentleman that can make them appear?
I don't know if he can make them appear. He's bald.
No, it's not the same.
So yeah, Earth Mama says we need confirmation. Yeah. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of people out there who do tons of different kinds of readings, like you said, past lives, and alien readings that I can't prove it. You can't prove it. I'm not going to take money from somebody for a reading if it's not provable.
Exactly.
So I don't do that. Could I channel an alien? Probably. But because of my scientific background,
it's hard for you. Yes, of course.
I try to avoid it. Yeah. I try to keep one foot on Earth.
Right.
I might have one toe left on Earth right now.
My daughter's here, Nicole.
Hi.
In press. Hey, Nicole.
Oh, your daughter's Nicole also?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me because I'm Nicole.
Yeah. Her dad picked her name.
My dad picked my name.
I wanted to name her Darla.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because I love the Little Rascals, and I love that name, Darla.
I love that name.
And he refused, and my daughter's very glad he refused.
My mom almost named me Pearl because I was born on Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
December 7th, 12/7. How's that for a cosmic birthday?
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Have you had your numbers done?
Yes, ma'am. I certainly have, and they are so accurate.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yep. I just had a show with Deborah. What's her last? Deborah. It starts with a Z. Deborah Zakow, and she does numbers. It was kind of fascinating what she talked about.
Numerology is fascinating, and it's so fascinating, and I believe in it so much. I don't know enough as much about it as other people do, but I believe in it. I put a number 7 on my office door. I just post-it noted a number 7 on my office door because that's my life.
That's kind of your, what is your number? What's your actual?
7.
So that's you rock and roll, girlfriend.
Yeah. So I keep that there.
That's amazing.
So when I'm wondering about, did I become a medium because of my UFO and alien experiences? I think a lot about the things that have happened in my life. Now, I was born in Missouri, lived in Southeast Missouri, and in Piedmont, Missouri. I think we talked about this last time. There was a big UFO flap in the 60s or 70s. There's documentaries about it. And so I grew up hearing about that, and my mom, of course, was reading the UFO books, and I read tons of UFO books, but I always read the skeptic side and the believer side because I was trying to keep, a foot on the earth, right? A foot on the earth. So when my husband and I, right before we got married, we were driving. This was
in Missouri.
In Missouri, right before we got married, because I had moved across the country back and forth. We were in Missouri for a trip. We were visiting people. We were driving in Southeast Missouri in a place I had driven hundreds of times. So I knew the terrain, was very familiar with it. It was 10 o'clock at night. No moon was out. And there was a little valley and a hill behind it full of trees. It was summertime. And I looked over, and hovering in the valley was an orangish yellow sphere, probably 50 feet in diameter.
Oh, girl.
It's hovering.
And did you tell your hubby?
Well, I looked, and as soon as I made eye contact with it, before I could even get it out, boom, went straight up over the trees and gone in an instant. And I grabbed his arm, and I'm like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you see that? Oh my God, that was so amazing. And he's like, what? I didn't see it. And because he was on the other side of the car. And I, told him, oh my God, there was this big giant fiery ball in the field. And it, I've never seen anything like that before. And I was so scared to go to sleep that night because I thought for sure I was going to get abducted by aliens because I saw that. And I talked to some of my friends who lived there later, and they said they see those there all the time.
How about abductions? Is there very many abductions?
In Missouri or just overall?
In Missouri.
So alien abductions are a real phenomenon. Now, are they aliens or are they the government?
That's true.
Because if it's aliens, why do they need that much DNA? They could get our DNA from the sewer system. They don't need to abduct us, right? They could, when they talk about harvesting eggs and sperm, which is very common in these abduction stories, and growing babies in labs, aliens wouldn't need to do that. They could take our DNA and make a baby. We can do that now. We can make babies in petri dishes now.
Right?
Biology is not that hard for us or for more advanced civilizations. So they wouldn't need to take all those samples as much as it's reported.
Exactly.
But something's happening. And I feel the same way about animal mutilation. Something's happening. Are they taking samples to see about the toxins in the dirt? And that's why the government is taking these samples, because aliens wouldn't need to take a tissue sample and kill a cow, drop it from a UFO, because they report, Linda Moulton Howe reports on those.
Yeah.
The backs are broken sometimes, like they've fallen.
From the fall. Yeah.
Yeah, but all they would need is take a few hairs, a tissue sample, and leave the cow, leave it be. So I just think the animal mutilation is too crude to be an advanced civilization. That's my opinion. Now, can I prove any of this? No.
Right. Because there's so many intense like that Whitner, the guy that wrote the first book that was made into a movie.
Communion, Whitley Strieber.
Anyway, that sounds like aliens.
It does. And am I saying that alien abductions don't happen by aliens? I'm not saying that. I'm saying it happens an awful lot for it to be aliens.
Right.
Because why do they need to do it so much?
Do they ever go to the Ozarks?
The aliens? Sure. The
Because
Missouri.
kinfolk,
yeah.
when they moved from Tennessee to the Ozarks, and there's nothing out there. It used to be farmland. I've often wondered if any of my kinfolk was kidnapped.
I guarantee you there are alien and UFO reports all over that area. But there's also a bunch of military bases around there.
Yeah.
Within flying distance. So I don't know the answers 100%. I do believe aliens are real. I do believe it's possible they've come here, but I don't believe every video of a UFO is from another planet. I think some of them are, but I don't think all of them are. It's just too much. You imagine the resources it takes.
Don just mentioned Sterling talks to aliens, and yes, he kind of has this alien quality about him because he's definitely one of those geniuses.
And I think that some people, if the alien hybridization theory is true, there's a whole study on our second chromosome being two chromosomes merged together. And maybe aliens merge that because that's where our language comes from on that chromosome. Now, this is according to documentaries I've watched. I have not studied this myself. But apparently, great apes have, I want to say 48 chromosomes, and we have 46. And two of the chromosomes merged in humans, and now our chromosome 2 has like telomeres in the middle, which are supposed to be on the end. And so apparently, according to this theory, that was modified for us to develop language and higher intelligence and things like that. So
interesting.
Is that true? Maybe, because why are we so different? Why are we so different? Why did we lose all our hair so fast? Why are we self-aware? Which
is something they find fascinating because they are not self-aware. They're not emotional at all. That's what I heard.
What, aliens? Well, it's said the grays are like robots or something. That's what I've heard too.
So when you saw an actual ET, right?
So what happened was,
we want that story, honey.
What had happened was, it was with my husband again. We were in Daytona Beach. I told you we go back and forth across the country. It's not unusual for us. It was right before we got married. We were staying in some cheap motel there because we were young and, Daytona. And I was sober, so don't think we were partying. We were just visiting. So I was sober. And I went to bed and I had this dream. I call it a dream, but it sure sounds like an abduction. I had a dream that I woke up and there were 3 gray aliens with their fingers, 3 fingers on the top and 1 on the bottom of my legs. I couldn't see it. I was paralyzed. I couldn't see anything up here. I could just see forward. And my knees were up and they were grabbing my legs. I could feel it. Just thinking about it, I can remember it. And this was a dream. I could feel them grabbing my legs, lifting my body up. And I tried to turn my head to wake up my husband, and he was out, paralyzed. I couldn't wake him up. I'm trying to yell. I don't know if I was yelling because I was kind of paralyzed. I couldn't move. And I'm trying to wake him up, and he's not moving. He's not budging. They picked me up and took me into the bathroom. And then that's all I remember. But my dream occurred in the room I was actually in. That's why I wonder if it was a dream or not.
Or was it? Yeah.
Because who dreams that they're
Were
in the
you floating into the bathroom or?
Yeah, they were yeah. So like it was like they picked me up. I mean, I weighed a lot less then, so it was easier for them to float me.
Yeah.
but but it was like it took no effort. So either they levitated me, but I definitely could feel the 3 fingers on top and 1 on bottom. They were
that wasn't no dream.
Yeah, so that's why
that was an experience, and they made you feel like you were dreaming.
And I remembered it all these years. It's been the same all these years. And who remembers dreams? Like nobody remembers a dream from 30 years ago.
Well, I had a similar experience where they came in and they were grabbing me, and then they tried to lift me and they couldn't do it. Someone said, forget it. We can't get that fat ass up any higher.
That's why they don't come back and get me anymore. They can't pick me up.
Yeah, so they haven't come back?
I don't have any recollection of that happening. Now, I'm a very vivid dreamer, and since I've been a medium, my dreams have only gotten more intense.
I can't read for myself, but I can dream.
Oh, my dreams. Do you get dream visits from your loved ones in spirit?
No.
Oh, really? Oh,
but I get dream visits from those who have crossed, but not loved ones. Oh, well, wait. I have had dreams about my dad and my mom. Yeah, sorry. But they're never giving me any information. We're always back at the old house.
That's very common.
As usual. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, if it's a sequential event and it's happening in an important place, to me, that's a dream visit. Like if it happens like an event, like you're hanging out together with your mom and dad in the old house and you're having conversations and it makes sense. To me, that's a visit.
That's how we're never having conversations.
You're just hanging out.
They're going by or something. I saw my mom walk past my door and I came out and I saw her. She wasn't really walking. She was floating. And I said, Mom. And she sort of turned her head. She was young. And I said, I love you. And she did this with her hand and she made a right turn. But I had a vivid experience dream that I was in a shopping center and saw Trump in a glass coffin. And it was so real.
I've heard you talk about that many times.
He looked like Stalin, the wax. I walked up to that coffin. There was lights on it. And I looked and thought, dear God, he really is dead.
Unfortunately, that would make him a martyr.
Right now it would, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
His numbers are dropping so bad, especially with this thing going on right now. On the news, they were talking about it. America's not happy with this. They didn't want this. Biden removed more
immigrants
than he did.
Yep.
Maybe that's part of this problem is that he wants to know why he doesn't get the numbers Biden had. Who knows?
Yeah, I've heard so. Yeah. Yes.
But when you had that dream or experience, did it stick with you for a while?
Yeah, 30 years later, it's still sticking with
me. It made you consume that information.
I was already, had already read books about aliens and alien abductions and watched documentaries before that. So because of my scientific training, I know you can put stuff in your own mind and create a scenario. That's why I always call it a dream.
Right.
Because I can't prove it, obviously. And maybe I was influenced subconsciously by the information I already,
he just
read.
It was Obama that deported more people.
And Ansel, you're right. But also I heard yesterday on another podcast from a reporter that Biden did too. Yeah. But yes, Obama and Biden did more than this one. So yes.
Catherine, your letters aren't green. Usually if you're a member, your letters will show green. But your posts are appearing, just
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Okay, but oh my God. So you started getting an education.
Education. Yep. So I had already had my associate's degree when I had both of those experiences, because those experiences were within a few months of each other.
Wow.
And I saw the UFO first, and then went to Daytona and had the alien dream. And then I got married, had my kids, went back to school, got my biology bachelor's degree, working 2 jobs, raising kids, doing
How many
all
children
that.
did you have?
I have 2 adult boys and 1 baby grandbaby girl.
Oh,
She's
which
brand
you
new,
adore.
which I adore.
Are
Oh,
you down there shopping for the cute clothes?
yes, because I had boys and now I have a baby grand girl. So now I'm like
Right.
getting
My daughter, I would shop for that girl. She never wore the same thing twice.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
take pictures of her. I got the cutest things. And then I didn't want any more children. And someone said I would have 2 boys. And I thought she was cray cray. I had my 2 little boys. The one was, I was 39. And then the other one was a total change of life, sort of. I was 42.
Surprise.
But you know what? I'm glad he came, because those 2 kids, it was way easier, because Nicole didn't have anybody. But these 2 boys have each other. They look out for each other.
Mine were close in age, 21 months apart. And I told my husband, uterus closed. He's like, I want 6 kids. I'm like, go have 4 more, but I'll
get it with your girlfriend. There you go.
So we have 2 boys.
Are they wonderful kids?
They are wonderful adults. They're both in, and I talked about this on my Soul Twin Stars podcast, which comes out Friday. We had a Father's Day episode, an Father's Day episode. So watch that. It'll be on all my channels and socials. But we were talking about, how our fathers messed us up.
Exactly.
My father's still living, actually not far from where you are, in Roseville. And he and I don't have a good relationship. We just don't. And we were
what
talking.
What sign is he, if you don't mind me asking?
Leo.
Oh my God, a Leo and a Sag? Forget about it.
Yeah. My mom, my dad, and my oldest sister, all Leos. All 3 of them.
Oh my
So
God.
that was so I vowed when I had and my mom died and she was an alcoholic. So I knew I had
those dynamics going
on.
on.
Had some repairing to do. And I raised my boys. I told them everything about alcohol and drugs. I told them the truth about, not just randomly, right? Not when they were 5, as they grew up and got older, and told them in appropriate language and said, these are the facts. This is what can happen. Do with that what you may. Told them about, sex and protection and what happens if you just go out and
you were very blunt, because you're a Sag.
Very blunt, very accurate, very truthful. Later, my youngest said, Mom, you scared me to death when you said, if I get a girl pregnant, I'm going to have to quit school and work and raise the baby. I'm like, well, what you think you were going to do? Yeah. Luckily, that never happened. And
never happened. I have, obstetrician books with babies with 2 heads and stuff. That changed my kids' minds.
Yeah. And I had, books, I'm a science teacher. So I had science books and anatomy books all over the place. And so I just told them the truth about everything. And they're both in 8 and 10-year relationships, respectively. They're long-term relationships. Neither of them do drugs or drink. Thank God.
Never did?
Maybe a couple of times, but I come from a long line of alcoholics. My husband's My husband's a recovering alcoholic. Imagine that, right? So they saw and heard enough to know.
That's like my boys. Their dad is still an alcoholic and a drug user. And they witnessed that, and they had a thing since they were little. They would not touch it. They've never had alcohol pass their lips. They've never smoked, nothing. They refused. When they were little, we were celebrating New Year's, and I gave them sparkling apple cider in a champagne glass. Mm-hmm. And they were drinking it, and I said, oops, it really was champagne. and they both started crying.
Oh,
because they were so upset. I said, "No, look, it's really apple cider." I thought I was being funny. I wasn't.
Yeah, I think sometimes the bluntness, for me anyway, scared my kids, but I was trying to tell them facts, right?
Yes.
To help them. But, they're great young men now. And I couldn't be happier or more proud of both of them. I'm very lucky because it's not often your kids they work hard, they love their.
Well, a lot of it has to do with karma. Sometimes we give birth to somebody that was supposed to create this energy. So
I talk about that in mediumship a lot, because I'll be giving a reading and someone will say, one of, their dad who was dysfunctional will come through and apologize, and they'll be like, but why did that happen to me? And I'm like, we have a soul contract, like an outline. Right. We have an agreement. This time you're going to be the victim. Maybe next time you're going to be the bad guy. That's really hard for people to rectify, but it's true. Like, I don't ever want to be the bad guy.
No.
But I'm sure.
And the other thing is very important to forgive, at least for yourself.
Yes.
Don't give them that power anymore.
Yes. Forgiveness is for yourself. Somebody doesn't have to accept your apology for you to, forgive yourself, and understand that we allow things to happen to us when we don't know any better, especially growing up in a dysfunctional family like I did. I grew up in an, alcohol addicted, abusive family. So when I got older and started having relationships, I didn't know what abuse was. I thought it was normal, not physical abuse that I
do think, like, my father was pretty violent, and you think everybody goes through that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't know until later, you don't have to get yelled at by your partner. You don't have to get degraded by your partner. Oh, that's not right. Like, it made me strong. I'm telling you, nobody. My dad's Sicilian.
But how is your husband? Does he listen to you?
Well, he is a Virgo, so he's a wonderful, loving, kind man. Now, we are both very alpha personalities. So when we were younger, before we matured, we would have very abrasive discussions.
Right.
Because I wanted to be right and he wanted to be right.
Right.
But over time, you grow older and you get more experience, and you're like, we don't have to fight.
Right. And you guys are still together and you get along great. You raise those kids.
Yep. And it's,
a lot of people don't have that.
I'm very grateful because I grew up in the most dysfunctional way. And I really wanted to have a solid life. I don't want chaos. I don't want chaos. I don't want dysfunction, things like that. And I think that's why I became a healer. Teachers are kind of healers. Nurses are healers. Mediums, just like so many of my medium friends are teachers or nurses, or in some type of that field. So it's been a journey.
Do you communicate with the higher realm?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Do they give prophecy at all towards the future, or do they not like to do that?
My spirit guides, you mean?
Yeah.
I try not to ask, but I think I have just an intuition like you, psychic abilities. Because I am psychic. I don't do specific psychic readings. I do mediumship readings with a little bit of psychic in there. I get lots of information when I ask. I turn it off because I can get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because it can come in, so I'm sure you're aware. You can get a download that can break your brain and you don't even know what to do. Like, sometimes so much information comes in and you're like, I can't even remember all of that. Like, it's like they're
careful with me. Yeah. They're careful because remember, they told me you will do a YouTube channel. And I thought they were great. And they said you will help calm them down, but they give me bits and pieces. Don't ask me why, but I know Ukraine is going to end up beating Russia. I know Putin's going to end up being 6 feet under before you know it. Netanyahu is getting ready to hit Iran, and there's going to be trouble. And Trump's going down. So it's hard when you know this is going to happen, but people are so afraid, and we really shouldn't depend on other people to tell us. Just breathe and thank the universe, because this too shall pass.
And you know what, Linda? I'm so happy you said that, because after the election and a few times since the election, I had lives on my Facebook and YouTube where I'm like, we're just here to breathe. We're just here to relax. We have to raise the vibration. The news is made to make everybody crazy, to make everybody scared. It's run by a small group of people who want you to believe what they say.
Right.
In reality, we can shift ourselves and help the people closest to us shift. That way, we're not so uptight and
don't give them any power. Don't give them any power over you.
He depends. The orange guy with the makeup that's not smoothed. He doesn't know how to blend.
Which you can now see his Foley catheter right through his pants.
I saw that earlier. He feeds on hate. He feeds on hate.
He loves it.
He's an energy vampire. And that's
I know people aren't listening, but I want to say, you guys, don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love all those protesters to just go home. Don't show up for all the chaos he's creating or that big parade he's having. Just stand down.
Yep.
If you're going to protest outside of there. Don't give him any reason. That's when he really drops, because he doesn't like to be ignored.
Right. Exactly. He wants to feed on the negativity.
Yeah.
Feed on the negativity. It can be overwhelming.
But it's going to change, because these type of people don't last long. And that Mike Johnson, I hope they tar and feather Governor Newsom. I said, little man, you got a little something coming.
From a man
your karma is getting ready to catch up with you, Mr. Christian.
Yeah, a man who him and his son monitor each other's porn.
And that's not even his son. That's some young guy he adopted.
Oh, really? I haven't looked into it because it makes me sick.
He has a daughter.
That's so gross. Yeah. But anyway, aliens are real. Trump will be in a clear coffin any day now.
I asked the aliens for help, though, Nicole. I asked them. Sometimes deep in my soul energy, I peacefully say, I know probably you can't interfere with mankind, but energetically, if you can do anything. Now, I know they are on it, like as far as Iran and Netanyahu, they'll do something that will prevent any kind of nuke taking off.
And I also think that there's a great scene in the movie John Carter, which is a book written by I want to say it's not Ray Bradbury, it's the other guy. Anyway, A Princess of Mars. It was written in 1913. Disney made it into a movie, and there's a scene where the aliens are talking to this guy, and the guy is saying, why don't you interfere and fix all this? Like, why are you doing this? And he's like, we're just here to manage it. Right? We're just here to manage it. And I thought, and that was 1913. So I thought that was pretty profound.
Very good. Yeah. There's 2059 in the room.
Oh, I can't even see that.
2071 now.
That's awesome. I'm glad everybody's here. And since there's so many people here, use code Linda G, all caps, for $25 off any of my readings, my 15-minute, my 30-minute, or my 45-minute. I'm an evidential medium helping people heal.
That's great. And boy, I love your info on is there any kind of warning or anything they said to you can relate to us?
From like aliens or something, or my guides?
Or your guides, anything.
I get a lot of slow down, be calm, be patient. I have tuned out the negativity as much as I can because I can't handle it anymore. 10 years is
I can't stand listening to his voice. Yeah.
10 years is a long time. And I made a conscious decision on November 5th at 3 a.m., 6th, whatever day it was, to turn off the news. And I have not turned the news on since then. I see content creators. I'll watch a couple of minutes a day and that's about it because I can't handle it. But the goal is raise your vibration, move forward with love. That does not mean put up with any crap from anybody at all. It does not mean allow other people to harm people. It does not mean let, these illegal arrests happen. It just means whatever you're doing, bring forward love first.
Yeah, because I want to tell you guys with raise your vibration. Sometimes I think the language of that is off. Raise your vibration. Then you're looking at vibration as some fact that you got to plug yourself into an outlet so you can raise.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily, it does raise your vibration when you do this, like Eckhart Tolle talks about.
Oh,
but
yes.
When you stand in peace and you go thoughtless, that getting overthinking. When you just stand in peace and wish the world well, and be within nothingness, breathe 3 deep breaths and be nothing. Vibrationally, that changes you. And that's what happened to me. I listened to him. I started practicing that. And then all of a sudden, anything I wanted came true. It's because I was vibrationally higher.
Agree. I read all of Eckhart Tolle's books. He's
wonderful.
Wonderful. I have several of them sitting here on my counter here. And Stillness Speaks. I have a very busy mind. And until I started reading his books, it was
got to shut it off.
And as I'm getting older, if I don't have 2 hours of silence in the morning to do meditation, I am a wreck. I'm a crazy person all day long. If I don't have that time in the morning, Stillness Speaks. And that's the name of one of his books. And just, you have to quiet the mind. I'll put on a YouTube video, birds chirping or rain or a river, something just to calm my nervous system and slow down my thoughts. Because that's, like you said, when you can raise your vibration, not plugging it into a wall.
Yeah. Well, when I had that episode happen to me walking down the path when I was begging for my life, and that man said to me as clear as day, "What are you doing? You know there's no such thing as death," which I knew because I had worked hospice. I saw people die as a nurse. I saw what happens when they die. And I got embarrassed. I was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." And in that moment, I handed myself over to whatever that was. I said, "Into thy hands I commence my spirit." Something happened to me. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and I was buzzing. And I couldn't get the smell of the earth off my fingers, which they tell me, my native friends, that's healing.
Yeah.
I might have had a spontaneous healing at that time.
Very much.
Forever changed me. I was always sort of a medium, but I became a real good medium after that.
It's amazing how sometimes when we surrender, like you were describing, it just comes in. They're like, "Okay, you're ready. Finally, what the hell have you been doing, Linda? Now I'm coming in." And then whoop, they come right in. And for people who don't understand how mediumship and psychic ability works, it's like our antenna go up and say to the universe, "Here I am. I'm ready. Come on in." Now, for people who are untrained and don't have any development, they have their antenna up and things are coming into their mind. I think sometimes people with, some types of schizophrenia, maybe they're just hearing spirits.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to prove that. And I'm not telling anybody to go off your medication. I'm just saying, is that possible? Maybe those voices in the head are spirits, right? Maybe that's a possibility because their antennae are up and they don't know to put their boundaries in place.
They can't decipher it. But, you can have training and you cannot have training. That woman that's eyes got destroyed by a sandstorm, she didn't have any training.
Right. I promote training because of this day and age and the internet. People go on the internet and give readings and take money, and they have no idea what they're doing, and they do more harm than good.
That's true.
A lot of my training isn't teaching people how to connect to spirit. It's teaching them boundaries and ethics and what to do and what not to do. It's like the outline of how to be a medium without functioning as a medium, like do this, this, and this ethically, etc. So,
but I wished the best thing you can do if you have children or nieces or nephews or grandchildren, start teaching them this about releasing and not going into that thought process so much. It will free them. I'm telling you, I didn't know this. I wasted all those years, always in fight or flight, always overthinking, and you create more of the same. Like if you're always worried about money, you'll always have money troubles. You'll always have issues, worry about love and stuff. Now I don't worry about nothing.
I say that same thing to people all the time. When you live in a state of lack, you will always
more of the same. You create more of the same.
Yeah. When you live in a state of abundance and one way or another, that check's going to come through, that thing's going to happen, that bill's going to get paid, whatever it is that you're worried about, if you know it's going to happen, it just flows in.
And thank the universe before it even comes.
Gratitude and love are the two highest frequencies. Gratitude and love, and it allows everything to come in. When you are living in hate, even though that orange guy lives in a state of hate and he has all this stuff, it looks like he's so great and successful. He's very miserable. There's no way he has I've never seen him smile. There's no way he has a single happy moment in a day or joy. He has no joy.
No, he's always busy worried about what he can get next.
Yeah.
I've met people like this.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. Definitely narcissistic personality disorder.
Is there anything you wanted to say to people before we close out?
I would like to talk about my wonderful podcast, Soul Twin Stars. It is on my YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. It is my friend, Lady Shadow, and myself. We've known each other for 40 years. We've had a million experiences together. She is a white witch. I am a medium and a scientist. We have Eben Alexander slated to come up on our podcast in the next few weeks. Last week, we did a show with Kamala Devi McClure, who is famous for her polyamory show. So we talked about alternative lifestyles with living with multiple partners or having relationships with multiple partners. So if you're interested in that, it's a very frank discussion. It's not gross or disgusting. It's an adult conversation about real things. Yes, Sherry, I record the readings and send you a free recording. Everybody gets a free recording. And I just noticed that in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
My readings, I do one-on-one readings. I have 15-minute, 30-minute, and 45 minutes. Linda G is the coupon code for $25 off. I teach classes. I have a new beginner's mentorship on June 21st. You can use code MENTOR for $25 off of that, or email me at peacefulnickthemedium@gmail.com. Nick is N-I-K, and ask me anything. I will answer the questions as quickly as I possibly can.
You have a YouTube show?
Yep, I have a YouTube channel. It's at Peaceful Nick. It's streaming on there right now, so you guys can go sub over there. I have email tarot readings. I have one-on-one tarot and oracle card readings. I have everything you can imagine a medium would offer. It's on my website.
And you still have energy.
And I'm chugging coffee constantly.
Okay.
Constantly. So yeah, email at me any questions if you have a specific request. if you want to have a group reading, I do group readings as well. I just don't list them on my website just because they're not, asked for very often.
Yeah.
Brahmi says, spirits in my experience always communicate with love, acceptance, and neutrality. Yes, agree. Those I have known with mental health conditions who hear voices, fearful and paranoid, not spirit. Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Great point.
Very, very much. What do you have coming
there was over 2,100 and something in the room. They're kind of leaving now because
they know.
About an hour is the longest you should go with a YouTube. Because
yeah, for sure. So, what do you have coming up anytime soon, Linda? Anything new?
I'm going to be on with Violetta next week.
Ooh, that'll be awesome.
I'm having a reading with Medium today at 2:30, and I'll let you guys know. Joy Harjo, who's a poet laureate of Muskogee, she said she thinks he's the best she's ever had. So I'll check it out.
Oh, good. I'd love
I've got Annette Bricka coming to do a show with me. People love that. Just answer your personal questions,
Yeah, that's awesome. Somebody asked where I live in Central Florida, so most of my readings are on Zoom, Donna. So if you live nearby me, I do an in-person reading for sure. Just email me if you live in anywhere near me.
Yeah, I'm not doing readings anymore, you guys. I retired.
Yeah, somebody told me that. I was surprised by that. That makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, I told everybody I was open for readings, and I opened up wakes, and the whole year sold out within 48 hours.
Yeah.
And so I got so stuck in it. And if I had anything that came up, I'd have to arrange it and change. I didn't realize you should just make short bookings.
That's why I only open
that's the best way to do it. But you know what? I'm done. And I got to pay so much taxes on the money for readings.
I'm avoiding my taxes right now. I had to file an extension. I'm like, we'll wait till October and worry about it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we love you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so glad, and I can't wait for our next talk. Let me know when you want to chat again. Maybe we'll do an evening time next time. Well, evening for me. I'm on East Coast time.
And also, is there going to be any hits, any ETs being seen more now? I mean, they are everywhere, but are we going to get more visuals?
I think that because of AI, we have to be very careful. I think that interdimensional beings are probably the most likely to be experienced right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think disclosure is ever going to happen the way we want it to.
Okay.
I think it's already been disclosed, just not the way we want it.
I just saw it. It wasn't a gray. There's an alien that I see, but he's not a gray. He's talked to me before.
Oh, in spirit?
Yeah. They don't tend to have a great sense of humor, but he was like tapping, saying, "You will see."
I think
they don't plan anything out, really.
I think people who know that UFOs and aliens are real. I don't think the government. If they do, I would be surprised that they do. I don't. I think the government's so crazy right now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, who's Ness?
Ness, she's one of my. She's really good, by the way. She's one of my moderators.
Oh,
very smart. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You need a good moderator. Lisa's good. Water Lily's good. They're all good. But Ness is always diving in, and she loves information.
I love it. Let's try again in a couple weeks if you have time on your schedule in the evening for me, like 8 or 9 Eastern, so 5 or 6 Pacific if you can.
Sure.
All right.
I'm not picking up any nuclear hit, but if something happens, I'll be sure to call you on that too. We'll need to do an emergency read.
Okay. Yeah, let me know.
Love you guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Water Lily, Ness, Lisa, the gang was Connie here. I think Dan was here for a minute. He always shows up, goes away. Marby, Gina, they're in blue, my moderators. You can't have enough.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have to start doing that.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, Linda. Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Email me any questions. Bye.